Sometimes telling children to sit more and study is not going to be the right method. It is important that we tell children and we teach them what is the way that the brain can remember, recall, and store data. Now that is the science I'm going to tell you in this video. How to remember what you learn and how to keep it with you in your long-term memory. The brain is a storage unit. So you're going to put in a lot of data, but the actual function of the brain is creativity. Its purpose is to pop out ideas randomly and help you think, but it does not have a location and a coordinate with which you can tell, now help me remember. That's not how the brain functions. A lot depends on how you put the data inside the brain. If you are going to put facts inside the brain is going to get bored and it's going to bounce things back. You will have to put data with complete and detailed association. That is what I will be telling you in the next part of the same video. When you put in data inside your brain, make sure that you're doing it with full concentration. Delete and discount every other disturbance and distractions around you. Some people tell me that, sir, I learn better with music. That is a myth. Multitasking is emotionally satisfying. But in terms of productive results, I'm telling you it's not, because you cannot do two things simultaneously. You are dividing your attention. If you're learning maths, make sure you learn maths. Cut the sound, cut the music, cut every distraction, sit in the right posture, sit in the right position, your table, your desk, your books, your light, everything has to be just so perfect. If you do not input the data properly, trust me, when you recall the data, you don't get it as pure as it is. The more active you are in your learning process, the more effective you are going to be. How do you know what you've learned? It's only when you look at it and you can remember the entire aspect. Imagine looking at a cell of a body and you can recollect everything, the mitochondria, the chloroplast, everything. Imagine looking at a blast furnace and you can recollect everything. That is when you know what you've learned. So reading over and over and over again is not going to be the right approach. Distinguishing clearly what you're learning, how you're learning is going to be the game changer. If you're learning a concept, understand it, the function, the existence, and the reason. If you're learning facts, the way you learn it is different. Maybe with mnemonics, maybe with tune, maybe with another recall method. But if you're not going to learn the things the way it is meant to be, then boy, it's going to be problematic. So if you do not understand what you're learning, and if you cannot put it in your own words, then I'm telling you, you are participating in something called as wasted learning. Now that's critical, right? Because you're investing your time, your energy, and still it's of no use. So everything that you learn, make sure that you can make your own notes out of it in your own words and see that if you can explain it to somebody, and if you do not have a somebody, see that if you can narrate it to your own self. If you cannot do it, it's pointless. And you know what? Most students do not understand certain concepts in physics, in chemistry, in biology, in maths, in history, in geography, in English, or maybe in a lot many areas because it is not meaningful for them at that point in time. And I understand this because in real life, it's not useful. And this is the struggle which children go through. And I'm telling you, this is a struggle worth going through because it's a part of your life, your career, and it's a struggle worth taking. Do not confuse recognition with recollection. Reconciliation of both of these, consolidation of both of this is so important, which is why I encourage children to participate in learning, in pure, pious learning, which will help you to recollect what you learn. Now, visual recognition is the best that you can. If I tell me something about Taj Mahal, the very first thing that comes to your mind is the image of Taj Mahal. If you cannot see it, you cannot recollect it. If you cannot recollect it, you cannot produce it in your own words. Make sure that you use the visual paradigm of your submodality and modality and use that as an effective part of your learning. Imagine I'm coming and telling you that meet him, he's Ram. And after 5 days, if I tell you, "Oh, bande ka naam kya tha?" you may forget. But imagine if I come and tell you he's Ram and he's a doctor and he's a neurosurgeon. And after 5 days when I come and tell you or ask you who was that person, and you may not remember the name, but you definitely remember the function, the doctor, the neurosurgeon, something you will remember because I removed the fact of the name and I associated it with a function which you connect with. Your brain can remember everything which has experiential learning, and your brain will forget everything which is pushed into it as data, as facts. So teachers listening to me, if you are listening to me, make sure that you give experiential learning to your children. Associate the learnings as dead facts to something which is connected to real life. Now that is your creativity. Children are always willing to learn if teachers are willing to step over a particular boundary and help them learn with associated memory, using visual connection, using all the tools possible, because our brain is majestic, our brain is curvilinear. It's willing to learn the way you teach it, but it's not willing to learn if you're going to bore your brain to death. When we look at an answer and we learn differently. But when we recall it, the recall is different. You don't remember the whole answer. You basically remember one point, and then you'll remember another point, and then another point, and then our brain connects this, and then you form the whole. When you look at me, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? And then what's the other thing, and what's the other thing? And see how the brain forms an answer to who I am. Likewise, when you look at any chapter, let's say you're looking at electromagnetic induction, what is the core of the chapter? You're expected to know the core of the chapter. Be it an answer, be it a chapter. Can you remember the core? Can you remember the skeleton? Can you remember the outline? Now you can fill it with words. Do not try to study these words without knowing these concepts. Most children undo good learning by not sleeping enough. Now this may sound funny to you, but trust me, if you do not have adequate sleep, if you do not have the right amount of sleep, you are undoing good effort every day. We have a segment inside our brain which is called as a memory palace. This is where all the long-term memory is stored. If you do not allow the consolidation of the day to go inside the deep permanent memory, then everything remains in the temporary space. And what happens with the temporary space is it's there only as so long as your conscious awareness is present. But if you want it to slide inside your deep permanent memory, you must be giving yourself a decent 8 hours of sleep, comfortable 8 hours of sleep where you're sleeping. I cannot stress on this enough what a good sleep can do to you if you are on a serious path to learn. There is something called as a rapid eye movement which happens every 1.5 to 2 hours in your sleep, and that's when consolidation takes place, and consolidation is important. So parents and teachers, if you're telling your students and children to sit and study for 6 hours a day, that is useless, because 6 hours of continuous study has never helped anybody. If I'm asking you, if you sit at 6 hours on the desk, is it going to be 6 productive hours? No, right? The first 10 minutes or 20 minutes, you may be in full tau and full josh. What happens after the first 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 60 minutes, and 2 hours? Your productivity goes down, 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 down. You get bored, you get irritated, you want to get up, you have a negative self-talk, you're just unhappy with the whole thing. Now, what are you telling your brain? Every time I'm studying, I have a negative experience. So you've reinforced that over and over again. You're not making learning a good experience. When learning is not a good experience, when you're trying to recollect that which you learned, it's not going to come in easily. So here's what I suggest. Sit and learn for 20 minutes or 30 minutes and take a break. Now dive into something which you really like doing. Now, you don't need a 30-minute to refresh and recharge yourself from a 30-minute of study. You can just take a 10-minute or a 5-minute break every 30 minutes. Trust me, when you get into a 30-minute study, your productivity is high. Take a break, come back into a 30-minute of study, you have the same productivity again. So children, if you're sitting for 6 hours of studies, I'm telling you, break it down into as small pieces as possible. This will help you recollect, reconcile, recognize, and of course, consolidate. Not only that, you're going to have a positive association with the whole process of learning. Learning now becomes enjoyable because you begin to see productive results. You begin to see qualitative output. You begin to see value for the time that you invest. Now, when you sit and study for 6 hours, it makes a lot of sense because you directly associate with your growth. So I thought of producing a video in this particular manner which will help you understand how the brain functions. It's a very different video from the regular videos that we make. It's a video which talks of the science in which you should participate in your learning, be it JEE, be it UPSC, be it real life, or be it anything, even for a presentation. I want you to tell me whether you really like such content, whether you like such videos, and if yes, do write to us. We will make more such videos in addition to the timetables, in addition to the academic videos that we make. Let us know what else we can make. Thank you for liking, for sharing, and for commenting down below. It means a lot to us. We at Merit Store constantly aspire to make quality content for you and to everybody listening to this. If you are a teacher, write to us. We will invite you to record videos with us and to present it to students all over. If you are a parent and if you've got a skill which you want to share with the student community or with the teachers community, write to us. We would love to associate with you, participate with you, collaborate with you, and make the content rich and richer so that we can make the students' community a much more better, qualitative, and empowered life. Thank you for watching.